So if you're a developer deploying a modern web project, especially anything with React or Next.js, you have absolutely hit this crossroads, right? Two names just dominate the conversation: Netlify and Vercel. Honestly, it's one of the biggest decisions you have to make these days, so today we're gonna break it all down.
Okay, let's get right into it. This is not going to be just some boring list of features. No, we are treating this like a real head-to-head competition. The whole point is to figure out which of these amazing platforms is the right tool for your specific project. By the time we're done here, you should have a really clear winner in mind.
All right, so let's meet our contenders. In one corner, we have Netlify, and in the other, Vercel. Both of these are absolute titans in the world of front-end deployment. I mean, they make it unbelievably simple to get a site live. But, and this is key, they come from very different places, and that's where the real story begins.
Now, this slide right here, this gets to the very heart of it. It's like their DNA. See, Netlify grew up right alongside the Jamstack movement. You know, that whole idea of building super fast, secure sites with pre-rendered files. So its entire philosophy is about flexibility. It's built to be a plug-and-play solution for just about any static site generator out there. Vercel, on the other hand, was built by the exact same team that created Next.js. So its focus is laser sharp to give you the most seamless, powerful, and integrated experience specifically for Next.js. This one difference, believe me, it explains everything that follows.
All right, so we know where they came from. Now it's time for the feature face-off. We're gonna put these two side by side and compare them on the stuff that really matters to us developers: performance, the actual user experience, and yeah, of course, the price.
At a quick glance, you can see they're both super competitive. I mean, both have really generous free tiers that are perfect for getting a project off the ground. But, you know, when you look a little closer, you can see their core philosophies at play again. Netlify really emphasizes its serverless functions, while Vercel is all about its edge capabilities. And notice this, analytics are an optional add-on for Netlify, but they're baked right into Vercel's Pro tier. They seem like small details, but trust me, they tell a really big story.
Okay, let's talk about what everyone cares about: speed. Now, for most static sites, say something you built with Astro or Gatsby, the performance difference is going to be pretty minimal. Both platforms are incredibly fast. They use global CDNs to get your content out there in a flash. But here's the kicker. If you are building with Next.js, Vercel has a serious advantage. Its native support for features like incremental static regeneration, which basically lets you update static pages after they're built without a full redeploy, well, it just means Vercel is built from the ground up to run Next.js faster and more efficiently than anyone else, period.
So, what does that feel like for you, the developer, day to day? Well, Netlify is the absolute champion of simplicity. You connect to Git repository, you pick a branch, and boom, you're live. It's really that easy. And that flexibility makes it fantastic for teams that are using a mix of different frameworks. Vercel, though, is like a finely tuned machine, built specifically for the React world. Its command line tools, the automatic previews for every single pull request, it all creates this incredibly tight, seamless workflow that honestly just feels like an extension of Next.js itself. And of course, we gotta talk about the money. Both platforms have fantastic free tiers, more than enough for personal projects or getting started. As you start to scale up, though, their models start to look a little different. Netlify's pricing tends to be a bit more straightforward, a little easier to predict, especially for those traditional static sites. Vercel's paid tiers, on the other hand, are really designed to benefit those high-traffic Next.js apps that can take full advantage of their premium stuff like edge functions and all that advanced image optimization.
Okay, we have been deep in the details. Let's pull back for a second and look at the big picture. It's time for the final pros and cons scorecard. This is where we boil everything down to the essentials to make that final decision just a little bit easier. For Netlify, the pros are crystal clear. Its biggest strength is its incredible flexibility. It works with almost anything you throw at it. The plugin ecosystem lets you build all sorts of custom workflows, and its pricing and dashboard are famous for just being simple and easy to understand. So what's the catch? Well, it just can't quite match Vercel's native optimizations for Next.js, and some of those more advanced features like analytics are going to cost you extra. And what about Vercel? The pros here are all about that super tight integration. The native Next.js support is simply unmatched, which leads to zero config deployments, ridiculously fast previews, and a whole suite of really polished developer tools. The cons? Well, its pricing could be a little less predictable when you really start to scale, and it's so specialized for the React world that you lose a lot of that flexibility if you step outside of that ecosystem.
So, after that final scorecard, it is time to make the call. The bell has rung, the points have all been tallied, and it's time to choose your champion. But here's the thing, the real winner isn't one platform over the other, it's the one that's right for your project. And honestly, the final choice can be this simple. It really just boils down to one single question. Are you building with Next.js? If that answer is yes, just pick Vercel. Its a deep integration and performance edge make it the undeniable choice, no question. For pretty much everything else, if you're building traditional Jamstack sites or you're on a team working with a whole bunch of different frameworks, pick Netlify. Its flexibility, its simplicity, and that powerful plugin ecosystem make it the champion of diversity.
But this whole debate, Netlify versus Vercel, it really points to a much bigger trend happening in our industry. You know, we used to choose a framework, and then, completely separately, we choose a place to host it. But now, platforms like Vercel are so tightly woven into frameworks like Next.js that your framework choice is basically a hosting choice too. So the question I want to leave you with is this: what does this tight coupling mean for the future of innovation and the openness of the web? Definitely something to think about.